Well, Tom, police say there's no denying it. Signs of gang activity have turned up around the city, even in schools. They urged leaders in the city and in the classroom to open their eyes and help stop the problem before it grows.
These are like crowns. You want to count the number of points?
What you're looking at is a Manchester detective breaking down the cryptic symbols of street gangs.
LK for Latin King. Killer Latin King.
The place where these images were found may surprise you.
This is all from students off here.
Manchester schools, and that district is hardly alone. Around the state, kids are being influenced by some of the most dangerous street gangs in the country.
We try to discourage attire that shows gang affiliation, but we've had a lot of trouble last year with graffiti and gang-related taggings.
It's really not that difficult once you start learning the signs and symbols out there. 6-point star and the pitchfork.
Manchester Police, the FBI, and Department of Justice urge city and school officials, along with teachers, to learn the gang lingo, the colors, the clothing, the meaning of graffiti police photographed around the city, even inside schools. They say some signs of gang activity come from gang members already here. Others are called wannabes who need to be stopped before their lives and the community suffer.
The best way to fight gangs is to influence the kids before they're influenced by the gangs.
Investigators told us national gangs like Folk Nation, Crips, and Trinitarios have had offshoot groups on New Hampshire streets for years. But police say kids younger and younger are importing the violent imagery and creating their own gangs, sometimes just to fit in.
Middle school kids, 12, 13, you see some of them getting involved.
Just look at this boy's bedroom in a police photo from Nashua, covered in gang lingo. While New Hampshire may seem insulated, thousands of miles from gang strongholds like LA or Chicago, police who walk the halls of local schools like Nashua South say they're seeing gang affiliations in certain clothing and color schemes.
Some of them will actually use Sharpie markers and put, gang graffiti on their books, their notebooks, their backpacks. They'll actually draw it on their hands, up their forearms.
They start to mimic what they see and pick up the dialect and the different lingo and start using it with each other. Yeah.
Many kids do what's called repping or homegrown. They're not officially part of the national gang, but still wear the colors and gather in groups for assaults.
Wannabes are gonnabes. They're just as dangerous because they're out to prove themselves, just like say a prospect in a motorcycle gang.
Milford police saw it start a few years ago when Folk Nation marked their territory and gang members started committing crimes in town. They too have seen gang colors in local schools, but still the problems are on a smaller scale.
Do we have a similar problem like there is in Chicago or even Boston or Los Angeles? The answer is no.
Marty Bolden's office works with disconnected youth in Manchester. He echoed what police told us, saying gangs are not out of control in New Hampshire. But he says the internet is helping plant the seed of violence. Now kids looking to fill a social void can start acting like a gang member or even find a real gang more easily.
They start to identify with that and start to act like that's what their life is about.
To curb any violence, most schools won't allow gang-like clothing or signs. Police say parents need to pay attention too. Remember that teen's bedroom in Nashua? His mother said she had no idea he was hanging out with a gang. While for many kids, this will simply be a phase, for others, it's too late. And the loose connection to gang life in school, police say, can lead to hardcore gang activity and a life in crime.
They think it's a family, they think it's a group, someone's going to take care of them, someone's going to protect them, and it turns out to be the exact opposite.
And Aaron, we've shifted over here to the police station to get the latest word on the attacks. Police aren't going into a motive for the attacks other than to say that they were gang-related.
Parking lot, two rival gangs brandished machetes, bats, and knives at each other.
Police say the gangs left the parking lot before officers arrived, only to continue the fight at another location.
Disturbance continued in the area of Canal Street at Cross Street, near 28 Canal Street. At that location, it turned into a riot. Several officers responded, and several misdemeanor arrests were made.
Police say the disturbance didn't end on Canal Street. Instead, they responded later to report of shots fired.
Approximately 1 hour later, a drive-by shooting occurred at 28 Canal Street. several rounds from a large caliber handgun were fired into the residence. These rounds were recovered and there were no injuries. Shortly after that, a second drive-by shooting occurred at 37 Central Street.
65. Reporting live in Nashua, Ray Brewer, WMUR.